Hello again, ladies and gents. I hope you had an absolute blast with your page of math. I know I certainly had fun doing the homework as well. So, we'll take a look at a few of the questions. I haven't done every single one on here, just enough to give you a good snippet of what's going on with each of them. And then, obviously, if you have questions about any of the other ones that I didn't specifically cover, just fire me a comment in our Google Classroom about each of them, or about any of them that you want to hand with. I'm sorry, and I will happily go over it with you, and I can repost it, or I'll figure something else out. Okay. So let's jump into it. 1A. They asked for you to compare 1/2 and 2/5. And like I was saying in the lesson, in this unit, before we compare fractions, put them in order from smallest to largest, add them, subtract them, anything like that, we have to find common denominators. So I had 1/2 and 2/5. So I was looking at the 2 and the 5. And now I'm looking for a number that's in both the 2 times tables and the 5 times tables. So in that case, simplest for me, I'm just going to multiply them together, 2 times 5, okay, which gives us 10. By the way, that is also the smallest one because both 2 and 5 are prime numbers. Hopefully you caught that. And then for sure, the only way to find a common denominator is to just multiply them together, okay? So 2 times 5 is 10, 1 times 5 is 5. Over here, 5 times 2 is 10, 2 times 2 is 4. And then I get 5/10 and 4/10, which then tells me 5/10 is larger than 4/10. Okay, let's jump over to B. They gave us 2/3 and 5/6. Now, looking at this, I could do 3 times 6 to give us 18 as our denominator, and it would work fine, no problems at all. If you can, choose the smallest number possible that you can use as a common denominator. So I want the smallest number that is in the 3 times tables and the 6 times tables. You may remember this from the very, very beginning of the year. It was one of the first things we did, lowest common multiple. Remember, we did the factor trees for them and then use the common multiples once and then times the remaining multiples. You can do that and I'll give you the smallest one, but simpler with this one, just look at them, 3 and 6. I can't shrink this down anymore because then I'd be changing the fraction, but I can use it as my common denominator. So then what do I have to do to 3 to make it 6? Well, I'll just multiply by 2. And then I did the same up here to give me 4/6. Now they both have the same denominator. So 4/6 and 5/6, so 4/6 is less than 5/6. Moving on to 2. They asked us to order these from least to greatest. And you know what? 2A gives us a great snapshot of what's going on. So I get 3/8, 4/5, and 1/2. And then this is just like in the lesson. So they're asking us to compare them and order them from smallest to largest. I have to get common denominators. So I'm looking at 8, 5, and 2, going, okay, what's a number that's in the 8 times tables, the 5 times tables, the 2 times tables? Well, I could multiply all of them together. So 8 times 5 times 2, and it would work. And if you're happy with that and that was working for you, no problem at all. If you want to try finding a smaller one, try multiplying just 2 of them together. So then I looked and I said, okay, 8 times 5. Well, that's 40. Is 40 going to be in the 2 times tables? Yes, it will. Okay, so that's what I went with. So I wrote down each of these as something over 40, something over 40, something over 40, and that was blank, that was blank, that was blank. Then I said, okay, what did I have to do to 8 to make it 40? Oh, well, I multiplied by 5 over here. So then I'm doing the same here. 3 times 5, 15. What did I do to 5 to make it 40? Well, I multiplied by 8. 8 multiplied by 4, 32. What do I have to do to 2 to make it 40? Well, 2 times 2 would be 4, so 2 times 20 is 40. Do the same to the numerator, and I get 20 over 40. Now that they're all fractions over 40, it's really easy to order them from least to greatest. 3/8 would be the smallest. 1/2 would be in the middle. Get it? A half in the middle? Oh man. Oh, how do they come up with this stuff? That's just great. Anyways, and then I'm so sorry. I don't know how that happened. I guess it was so funny my phone fell off the tripod. I swear I didn't do anything. And then 4/5 would be the largest. Okay. One last one to go. I'll see if I can. This one has to be partially blank, so hopefully I don't knock my phone off again, because I'm sure that was not pleasant coming through your computer speakers. Okay, so 5 asks for you to find a fraction that is halfway between each pair of numbers. So the first pair of numbers is 0 and 1. Okay, and I've drawn a number line, so this represents 0 and that represents 1. And we say, okay, I need something in the middle. Well, right now, there's nothing in the middle. Like, there's no spots where I can land. My first spot that I can land is at 0. The next spot I can land is at 1. So I need more pieces. So if this is one whole piece, then I need somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to have to break it into that. We now have 2 pieces. So let's change these into fractions over 2. So, and actually I'm just going to move those. So that goes up there. This guy goes up there. Okay, so fractions over 2, well, even though it's in 2 pieces, I still have nothing there. With this one, I have a piece there and a second piece there, so this would be 2 over 2. By the way, one whole, any whole number can be put as a fraction by putting it over 1. So that as a fraction would be 1 over 1. And then if I want it as a fraction over 2, well, just kind of the same thing we're doing before. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2. Okay, and you also got to see how it's the pieces. So now I have a fraction 0 over 2 and 2 over 2. So what's right between 0 over 2 and 2 over 2? Well, 1 over 2. Bring it back to the beginning. What's between 0 and 1? A half. Okay, so I'm jumping down to question D. What's between a half and 1? Well, again, let's add more spaces in here. Okay, so if this is 1 over 2, this I'm going to change into a fraction, which would be 1 over 1. And then as like halves, it would then be 2 over 2. All of those are equivalent fractions. Okay, on your calculator, if you do 2 divided by 2, you get 1. Okay, so I still don't have enough pieces in here, so I need more spots. Like, I drew that one in, I need more spots now. So I'm going to change this to fractions over 4. To do that, this would be multiplied by 2, and I have to do the same there. So this would be 2 over 4. You notice 2 divided by 4 is a half, 1 divided by 2 is still a half, or 0.5. Okay, and then I'm just, same thing, multiplying by 2 here. So I'd get 4 over 4. 4 over 4. 4 divided by 4 is still 1. So now, what's between 2 over 4 and 4 over 4? Why, 3 over 4. So again, what we're doing, we're making more spaces by doubling the size of our denominator, and then that allows us to find the fraction exactly halfway between. Okay, for F, same thing. Okay, so let's put this as a fraction over 2. 2 as a fraction would be 2 over 1. Okay, remember I said any whole number becomes a fraction by putting it over 1. So then making it a fraction over 2, I have to double both of those. So then it would be 4 over 2. So I just multiplied by 2. So if that's 3 over 2 and that's 4 over 2, what's between? Well, I don't have enough spaces. I go right from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So I need more spaces. So I'm putting another space in. To do that, I have to double the size of my denominator. So we're finding fractions over 4 now. So 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's 6/4. This times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8/4. So now, what's between 6/4 and 8/4? Well, that's right. You did it. 7/4. Can you imagine Dora teaching you this lesson? She would have just asked you that question. What's between 6/4 and 8/4? And then she'd stare at you with those big eyes, unblinking, like she's staring into your soul. And then you'd see the mouse go over and go, "Ba-da! 7/4." Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got it right. Again, it's the best I got. It's horrible. I know, but it's okay because I don't have to listen to these videos after I've made them. You do. You're so unfortunate. Okay, so that's going to be it for this page. Again, if there's anything else from 1, 2, or 5 that you want to see, just message me and then I will post it up again in a separate video. And then, yeah, you can go check out your next lesson as well for you to try after this. Okay. And again, sorry about dropping the phone.